I think the best division in football, most exciting division this year, the AFC North.
Yeah, and this time I'll get it right. So we got Cincinnati, obviously top two Super Bowl contender coming out of the AFC. I love Burrow. I mean, he's like one of the top three quarterbacks in the league. Their receiving core, awesome. Didn't their running back take a pay cut just to stay? Yeah, Joe Mixon.
Well coached. That's that's number one. They're winning the division, no question.
Then you have the Steelers. I don't know if they're going to be good or they're going to be average this year.
They're well coached.
They're always well coached.
George Pickett is a top end receiver.
Yeah.
And Deontay Johnson, I think, has his breakout season this year. I don't know how. It depends on how high you're on Kenny Pickett, but even the average team, I think the Steelers are still a 7-8 win football team. Even at their bottom is 7 wins, and that's still considering some of the other teams.
Considering he's never had a losing season.
Yeah, but even their bottom is 7 wins. I think their top is 10, but their bottom is 7. And you look at the bottom for the Texans, they're a 3-win team.
And it's hard for me with the Steelers. I think they're at least a 9-win team.
Okay.
I just don't know if they're going to come out the gate like on fire or they're just going to have that momentum like they normally have. Pittsburgh is always one of those teams where it's like, you don't know what the hell is going to happen with them, and then they turn it on mid part of the year, and it's like they had these 4 or 5 wins in a row. Usually getting started by the Ravens, they'll beat the Ravens, and then it's like all of a sudden they got this momentum. Like, all right, we're going to run through everybody. Speaking of which, what about Baltimore?
I think Baltimore is another one of those teams that is well coached, but their window's kind of passed. Or even if the window isn't passed, they're not on the level of Kansas City. They're not on the level of Cincinnati. They're not on the level of Buffalo. They're
Well, so what do you see Lamar Jackson doing this year?
That's the problem. Even if it's not Lamar Jackson getting hurt, it's somebody else.
Right.
But they did bring in Odell Beckham. I think that they have a fairly healthy year. They're second in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Behind Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
They have 10 wins.
Okay.
I think that now Cincinnati's winning the division. That is not up for question. But I think 2, 3, and 4 could be debatable. A lot of people are writing off the Browns. I'm not writing off the Browns.
Who's going to be better, Jackson or Watson, this year? Not saying who's the better overall quarterback. Who's going to have the better year between those two?
I think Odell gets... Oh, I don't think Odell gets hurt. I think J.K. Dobbins gets hurt again. Or Gus Edwards. Or
that will really suck.
One of their running backs gets injured. Or their defense, Marlon Humphrey. Somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And it has an impact on...
That will really suck.
Or Mark Andrews gets injured.
That will ultimately suck for
I think that somebody gets hurt on the offensive side of the football for Baltimore, and it causes Deshaun Watson to have a better year.
Interesting.
I think that even the last place finisher in the AFC North is the bottom for any team in that division is 7 wins.
How many playoff teams come out of that division?
2.
So then you're looking like you have to take away from somebody. So is the West going to lose a playoff team? Because theoretically they could have 3 playoff teams come out of it.
I don't think they do. I think they have. Okay, so Cincinnati won.
Mm-hmm. Overall? Or we're just talking about
in the North. Cincinnati.
Okay, all right.
I do think that Watson has a better year than Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Baltimore has more wins because they're a more complete football team.
I can see that.
I think Baltimore is 2 at 10 wins.
Okay.
I think 3 is Pittsburgh at 9, and Cleveland finishes with 8.
For the sake of argument, I would say Cincinnati far and away.
I think they're 13, 14 win team.
I'll give them 14 wins, 14-3.
Yep.
I'll pick number 2, and this literally can flip flop, folks. I mean, Pittsburgh could be number 2. Baltimore could be number 2. It depends on how they do against each other, to be honest with you, because they're only going to be like one game apart.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to come down to the division games there.
And Cleveland could be a dark horse if Watson shows up like he did for Houston.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same player there. And between Jackson and Watson, I think overall Watson is the better player to me. But
he's a better thrower in football, no question.
I mean, if he ever gets back to that form like he was at Houston,
he's a top.
I mean,
he's top 8.
That could easily push Cleveland up.
Yep.